Hello, I'm Peter Jurasik. I played Ambassador Lando Molare on Babylon 5.
Aia vita, l'estero, l'estero pigri.
Please join me, will you? On Science Fiction Snob on Wednesday, January 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern. You moon-faced assassins of joy, I will do a live, exclusive interview for you. Try to be there, yes?
Well, here's the continuing attack on Section 230. Basically, there are those who want to repeal it because they feel that social media, basically shows like, that you see out there are responsible for some of the issues that are going on with the youth of America. Now, I could say for straight out, like TikTok for a long time has been a bit of a problem on there. And it's basically they were blatant on some of the stuff, which, yes, those things should be addressed. But overall, the bigger picture to this, and I've said this in another video, politicians and radical activists want to blame these organizations for your problems, for your mental health onto there. And they're saying like, because watch certain types of subject matter, if you watch pornography, if you watch uh, anime, manga, cartoons, action movies, R-rated movies, if you are listening to certain types of music, to that point, that if something happens, we have to blame them. It's their fault. If something on social media that is proclaimed out there that you talk about and someone basically decides to self-delete themselves, they'll try to blame it on there. This has been happening throughout many countries: Australia, Russia, France, United Kingdom. Now they're trying to push it here in the U.S. Now there's a Florida congressman who's basically filed a new bill to repeal Section 30, which technically, they're trying to uh, put curtail on the First Amendment. So we're going to read this off of XBiz. Florida Congressman files the latest bill to repeal Section 230. Representative Jimmy Patrons of Florida has become the latest member of Congress to propose legislation that would repeal Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which protects interactive computer services, including adult platforms, from liability for user-generated content. Patrons introduced H.R. 7045 in the House of Representatives earlier this week. A statement posted on his website declaring for too long the law has prevented parties harmed by online content from attaining relief. Instead of protecting our younger generations from sensitive content, these sites prioritize profit over safety while continuing to push out harmful, explicit, and dangerous materials without any accountability. Now, understand this. Who has the judgment of what children should be watching, what teens should be watching? Yeah, you, the parent. That's your job to do that. Now, this representative feels that the government should be involved in that. And that's the wrong direction, the wrong type of thought to happen. What you're proposing is censorship. When you listen to some of these laws, these are to censor you, the viewer, you, the people of America. Reading on, would-be reformers on both sides of the aisle has vilified big tech from profiting from illegal and harmful content to seek pressure platforms to moderate such content more intensively by making them liable when third parties post it. Right-wing critics also claim that social media platforms use the rule as a shield to allow them to censor conservative speech and to seek to limit platforms to right to moderation as they see fit. When it comes to something like that, that is something that is litigated as far as the Supreme Court. When you have organizations like YouTube, if anything, I'm a person who criticizes YouTube all the time, and Google to the point. When you have these situations when, even my content has been basically shadow banned in certain time periods. And, it gets a little crazy. Should they be held for that? That's violating constitutional rights. That's a different story. And yes, that should be litigated out. But when it comes to certain content on the sites that basically, for example, they are promoting health situations onto there. Yes, they should be protected. Content that, are criticizing government, content that are criticizing TV shows, movies, and stuff like that, onto there, or criticizing others. You're making an opinion to that point where others saying, "Oh, it's misinformation" and all that. This is what they want to push away, And then there are those who are on the right, the radical right, that are just basically wanting to censor things like the old obscenity laws and Hays Code laws from back in the day. As Expis reported in December, two other repeal bills are currently pending: HR 6746, the Sunset to Reform Section 230 Act, which would amend Section 230 by adding simply the section shall have no force or effect after December 31st, 2026, and S3546, which calls for the repeal of Section 230 effectively 2 years after following the enactment. Industry attorneys and advocates have voiced strong concerns that are opening up Section 230 to tinkering could easily pave the way for various specifically carve-outs in the tradition of the FOSTA-SESTA exemptions, revoking liability protections for the site that unlawfully promote and facilitate prostitution or sex trafficking. A carved-out aimed at including the industry would effectively repeal Section 230 as far as adult platforms are concerned. This would render adult sites that host user-generated content legally liable for the content, opening the floodgates for civil lawsuits. And this is totally wrong. To that point, when you hear prostitution or sex trafficking, they misidentify. It's the same thing when they talk about racism, when they talk about white supremacy. They define these things. They think people in the adult industry are prostitutes and being sex trafficked. Is that happening in the industry? Yes, there are illegal ones out there, and a lot of them are overseas. And they will not touch them because they have no way of getting to them to rescue these workers on there. There are legitimate people in the adult industry that are legitimate business people that do the job that that they're doing, creating entertainment. There are those who are acting, that they're their own business people. A lot of them are women, that they have their own companies for many years now. The industry is not the same as it was back in the 70s. It has changed. Most of the mob has gone away from this industry. They've been pushed out of it. Is there still sort of a mob type? Yeah, but most of it is overseas. Are there some companies here in the U.S. that should be checked on? Yes and no. It depends on them. Most of the ones that are on this side of the world are legitimate and doing the job they're supposed to do, no matter what people have said about them. You have disgruntled workers out there that used to work for some of these companies and has left it, and they've had a bad taste situation. And of course, like any other employee that leaves the job, quits the job, is always going to badmouth the job that they left. That's always a situation. But in the case of the porn industry, they try to throw a criminal element to the situation. Well, if you're in the porn industry and you feel that you're being sex trafficked or prostitution and you got out, then bring the charges up. Bring the receipts. That's what I have to say. But what else I have to say is for you to comment on this situation on there. Yes, we brought 3 adult videos this week, and we do going to be bringing more uh, subject matters to you. But this is a lot that's going on right now, this very minute, to that point. So remember, give a comment on there. Don't forget to share, like, and most important, subscribe, especially this week where, hey, listen, we got Peter Jurasik from Babylon 5, Landa Molati joining us on ScifiSnob channel, Sci-Fi for Me TV, and Tennessee Table Top Tavern. Also, that'll be a 3-way simulcast. To that point, you'll be able to see that. We'll have the link below. You'll be able to click over there. Also, we'll have the link over to basically leave a question on ScifiSnob Discord channel, or you can leave it in the comments below. So until next time, we'll hope to see you Wednesday night right here on YouTube on ScifiSnob's channel, or the other 2 corresponding channels for Peter Jurasik live right here. And if you miss it, don't worry. Madman Cafe will be rebroadcasting the entire interview just for you. So we'll see you then. Have a good one, and bye-bye now.